Welcome, Grid Insiders, to a new episode of the Success Grid podcast. I have a special guest today, Angel Ribo, aka the CEO Confidant. Is a business influencer, LinkedIn strategist, international TV host, public speaker, CEO consultant, board member, and philanthropist. So, Angel, are you ready to enter the grid?
I am indeed.
Awesome. So why don't you give to the people who are hearing us a little more about who you are and what you do?
Absolutely. So basically, I live in Texas, in the U.S., north of Texas, north of Dallas, and I'm originally from very close to Barcelona in Spain. I've lived here in 10 years, but I've lived in 7, 8 different countries, and I've done business in more than 33 countries. And basically, 5 years ago, I left corporate America, the corporate world, a large company I was working with. I had worked with them for, I think, 11 years or something like that. And I started my own consulting business. I also started my nonprofit. So, and what we do in our company, what we do is we basically help, both entrepreneurs, accomplished entrepreneurs, and corporate CEOs to bridge the gap globally for expansion and exposure as a way to accelerate the growth of their businesses. I do that, and that's why I call myself the CEO Confidant, because actually in the last 20 plus years, I helped more than 1,500 CEOs, growth or accelerate the growth of their businesses.
Cool.
At the same time, I started my nonprofit, and it's called Wisdom for Kids, and we help underprivileged kids in Latin America.
Yeah, I saw that. We will talk about that later in this episode. So first, tell me, I read that you speak 5 languages.
Yes.
Cool. What are these 5 languages?
Well, it's English, French, Spanish, Catalan, which is a language we speak in the north of Spain, and then Portuguese. I understand other languages because most of the Roman languages, Latin origin languages are very similar. So I'm able to understand others, but those are the ones that I have used personally to conduct business in my life.
Cool. Would you say Italian similar to these?
Well, it's again, it's you understand it because let's say the roots of the different words are similar to
Cool.
Thank you.
But I because I used to learn Italian. It's a beautiful language also. Cool. Anyway, so what was your defining moment in your life? Was there a defining moment that made you want to do this for entrepreneurs or CEOs that want to help them?
Yes. So I think that, well, there's been many defining moments, but maybe I would have not been in a sales environment unless I had left Spain in the 90s. That's probably one of the reasons. And the reason why I probably left Spain in the 90s is because I had a little bit of a traumatic divorce in 1997.
Sorry.
And that was thank you, and that was probably the reason why I decided, hey, I'm free to decide what I want to do in my life. I'm free to do whatever I want in my life, and probably that's why I actually look for a position outside Spain. I was reading a national newspaper. I was in Barcelona at that time, and I decided to go for an interview in Madrid for a position in London. So, and I went there, I flew there, and then they offered me the position, and I eventually went to London, went to the UK, and that was actually the last time I was in Spain was that year in the late 90s.
Cool. So you mentioned you work with CEOs and entrepreneurs, right?
Yes.
So what are the things or the mistakes that you see in corporate in general, corporate America or any corporate you work with?
Yes. So I would say that the most important thing is how there's this difference, there's this distance between what the CEO really wants to make happen in the companies, and they really want to make it happen because they have their board has told them to do something and they have to do it, right? And the reason, and they still have to make sure that all their employees have to actually get the job done. So there's still this gap between what the CEO wants their employees to do and what their employees do. As you know, the level of disengagement from the workplace by employees is huge. I mean, every single time someone conducts a poll, a survey, there's always over 70% of employees that say they're not really engaged in their workplace.
Yeah.
They do what they have to do, but
just to get the paycheck at the end of the month.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's a growing problem. And if you add obviously with everything that's going on in the world right now, there's people working remote, there's people working, on hybrid models that they maybe spend 1 or 2 days at work at their premises, the facilities of the company. The rest they work from home. So again, the potential of being more disengaged than before is there. So I think that's definitely one of the main issues that CEOs are having to deal with today.
Yeah, cool. So, but the goals of the CEOs that are in the company, are they different from, for example, the employees? Shouldn't be the same vision for the people who are all working in the same company, or the CEOs have their own thinking about?
It's not that. That's a great question. I mean, let's make it clear. Yeah. I mean, why do companies exist? Let's say you are the owner of a company. The reason why that company exists is because you want to have a return on investment on the investment that you made. Yeah. You want to have a return. You want to make money, right? Yeah. You want to make real money. So the main goal of the CEO is to make sure that the company continuously gives this return back to their investors. Yeah. That's the main goal. And all the main company's goal is the same one. But the question is, how do I make that my employees have the same goal that I have? Because I am paying my employees, if I am a CEO, let's say, I'm paying my employees to make sure that they keep on having, return to the investment that the investors made in the company. Yeah. And that's the big gap. That's the big problem. That's the big question mark. So how do we make sure that the employees are fully aligned with the goals of the company? And as the company grows, typically the employees tend to be more apart and far from those goals of the CEO.
Yeah, but I don't know. I noticed that employees do that. Go and ignore their company. Let's say, because with time passes by and spending years in the company, they don't see the reward they think that they deserve. Like increase in salary or increase in the position, something like that. Right? Do you think that maybe the big guys upstairs don't give the lower employees what they deserve? This is one of the things that happened.
I think it's a two-way street. I mean, to be fair with everybody, it's a two-way street. I think that we cannot blame the CEO and we cannot blame the employees. I think that there's a middle ground, and that's where we should go. Okay. And I think that also, if you want to keep your employees accountable, right? Because that's what the CEO wants, and I tell you, I don't know any single employee that would not like to be fully engaged with the company and would not like to have fun and to enjoy the work, right? Yeah. If you're spending 8 hours or more a day,
we consider it to be a social interaction a little bit. Yes, this is one of the reasons we go to work in general, I think. Yeah.
So again, the question is how the CEO makes sure that their employees are fully aligned. And that comes down to, I would say, two things. Number one, the leadership style. Yeah. What kind of leader does that organization have, right? What kind of CEO leader that is? Because one thing is being a CEO and another one is being a real, genuine, conscious leader for the organization. That's two different things, okay? Most of the times are the same thing, but sometimes they are not, right? And I think that's important. And number two, have you really coached? Have you really trained your employees so that they are fully aligned with the culture of the company, fully aligned with the goals of the corporation? Okay, so because I think it's not fair as a CEO, it's not fair to ask a lot of things from your employees unless you have given them all the tools that they need to really thrive with their jobs.
Yes,
you know what I mean? That's very important.
You should give them the tools to be free to execute things, even if it's their to me, even if it's their own way. But if it gets the job done, to me that's great. This is what I think. You know?
Yeah. I mean, you can set the bar, you can set the expectations at the level that you want, right?
Yeah.
But I think that if employees would be really excited about doing what they're doing, I think that would be much better for the company. And if what they do is fully aligned with the expectations of the leadership team and of the CEO, right? The thing is, again, how do we do this? It's leadership style, according to my experience, and then are they being coached and trained in order to be able to be fully aligned with those goals and with the culture of the company?
Yeah. So let me ask you, what is the most important blind spot that you see in corporations today?
Yeah, I think that's definitely one of them. But let me also tell you something else. I think that going from leadership to conscious leadership is another blind spot. I think that being fully conscious about what your leadership style you want, what leadership style do you want to have in order to properly lead, right? And I think there's a big difference there. Let me tell you also something that I read the other day from one of the big consulting firms in the world, and they were talking about what's the number one priority for CEOs today. And I think that this is related to the blind spot. And the number one goal right now is how am I going to upskill my employees, my workforce? How am I going to do it? How am I going to bring additional skills to my employees? That's the number one thing right now. And again, it's a survey. It's just a few weeks ago that this survey was published. Okay. So that's the number one thing. How am I going to give my employees the additional skills that they need for what's coming right now? I mean, remember, everything that has happened in the world has changed the world.
Yeah, especially now in COVID. Yes, you need the communication skills. You need the skills to do the job. You need multiple things to combine together so that
you need more things. Remember, I mean, if you don't really consider right now what's going on in the world, that the world has changed, that consumers make decisions from a different point of view. They take into consideration different criteria. If you don't consider that, then you are missing on something really important. Yes. And that's very important, Hussein, very important. The world has changed, Hussein. Yeah, definitely. The world has changed.
Definitely, exactly. Yeah, especially with COVID in this last year and a half, a lot of things had shifted a lot. Yeah, and fast. Technological change, everything is going fast these days.
I agree.
Yeah. So how companies or businesses or even CEOs can be more conscious in the world of business today?
Well, I think that they have to probably, I mean, every single CEO, every single business leader has their own, how to say this, their own habits, right? They know how to use their time. I think that they have to, one of my big epiphanies while helping CEOs is that I think that going slow is actually speeding up the business process, the business generation process, the revenue generation, the profitability. Going slower in the sense of becoming more aware, and increasing the communication with your employees.
Yeah.
Right now, it's not that you have a choice to do it or not. I really think that you have to do it. You have to do it. You have to slow down, and you have to really take stock of what's going on in your company. Remember, even if your workers are working remotely or on a hybrid model, they have their mind is right now on a completely different place. Are you getting the feedback from your employees as you should do? Are you doing it? Yes or no? Things have changed. Again, it's so funny that we tend to keep on doing the same thing over and over and over and over again. But are we actually asking ourselves, is the right thing to do?
Yeah.
Do we have to adapt our leadership style? Do we have to use more communication? Do we have to have a more continuous feedback?
Yeah.
Do we have to have a more continuous feedback with our employees, with our middle management, with our C-suite? Those are the difficult. Those are the important questions to ask ourselves. Again, the world has changed, and and I'm just talking about internally. But what about my suppliers? What about my clients?
Yeah, it's there's a cycle that supply chain affecting everything.
Your communications, the communication with all your stakeholders in the company as a CEO has to change because everything has changed around us. Our mindset is in a different place. Everybody's mindset is in a different place. Everybody.
Exactly. So speaking of change and fast pace and stuff like that in the last year and the crisis, entrepreneurs and businesses, how they can pivot in the time of crisis. So like we saw a lot of businesses now, or like a lot of employees started working from home, right? So what's the thing that pivot? What to do to pivot in a crisis?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I think it's a great question because I think last year everybody was looking at should they be doing differently, or how to actually branch out to a different line of business or something. And I was blessed enough, with being asked, by different business accelerators here in the Dallas area to do that. So it's very clear. It's very clear to me. Number one, I think there's 4 things that every single entrepreneur should take into consideration when they are thinking about pivoting or reinventing. Pivoting is a very American term. Maybe reinventing themselves, right?
Creativity should be there.
Exactly. So the number one thing, I think there's 4 ingredients to reinventing successfully. Number one is what is that real? Think about what is that thing that every single time that you do, you really thrive, you really like to do, and write a list of those things that you really like to do. Okay, really like to do. Okay, so things that you are passionate and when you do them, time flies. Number 2. What are the things that the other people around you, it can be friends, business partners, colleagues, co-employees, friends, that thing that they tell you are really good at that. You are an expert in that. And every time that they need something about that, they come to you and they ask you. That's number 2, which is expertise. Number 1 is passion. Number 2 is expertise. Number 3, is there a market for that thing? Okay. Is there a market? So, and this relates totally with connecting with the market as soon as possible. People are reluctant. We are, as entrepreneurs, we are fearful of reaching out to our audience and having conversations with our audience. We are fearful. We are consistently fearful. Exactly. We think that this is not gonna generate or we are fearful of having a rejection. That's what we're fearful.
Exactly. But right now, a lot have I am one of them. We have this fear of rejection. What if someone said no, I don't want this, I don't want to see this, and the unknown also, afraid of the unknown also.
Yes, exactly. So number 3, is there a market for this, for whatever I want to do, this thing that I'm passionate about, that the others tell me I'm an expert for? Is there a market for this? And that's why I always tell everybody, whatever you're doing, the first thing you have to do is to go and talk to potential clients. It can be your friends, it can be your former clients, it can be your relatives, it can be business partners, it can be anybody. Go there and ask them, would you do that? Would you do that? Would you do that? Would you do that? And the last one, that's the 4, let's say the 4 ingredient of this perfect recipe of reinventing yourself is the market willing to pay for it, and how much? So when you're talking to your audience, to your potential clients, and there's an audience, okay? So there's an audience. The big thing is, will the market pay for that service, and how much? So then if you actually do iterations around those 4 different ingredients, I think that you will eventually find something that can be really successful, and you can actually make a living out of that.
Exactly. Also, speaking of change and internet and working from home, all this stuff, the internet revolutionized everything, right? So what do you think of expanding globally to make acceleration in the growth of any business?
Yes. So that's a great question, because also, you know what happens, Hussein? We think that, okay, our business is on the internet. It's already global. Just because it's the internet, it's already global.
Yeah.
And as you know, this is not true. Because let's say, you know,
Yes.
you speak English, you speak very good English,
Yeah.
but you know, in your country, is it the normal? Is it
No.
normal that
No.
everybody speaks such a good English? So
No.
you just told me, yeah. But also, let's say you want to put your business into the world, and let's say you want to sell to other English-speaking countries.
Yeah.
You want to sell to the UK. You want to sell to the US. You want to sell to Australia, to South Africa, right? I mean, that could be.
Yeah.
But the thing is, and the question you have to ask yourself, in order for me to sell to them, can I use the same strategies I use in my own country? The answer is no. And that's why culture is so important.
Yeah.
Hussein,
Yeah.
culture is very important. And you know, the interaction between you and your market is called marketing. That's what marketing is, okay?
Yeah.
Interaction between your business and your market. That's marketing. So how do you do your marketing so that you can do it globally? So if you want to reach out to the English-speaking people in the UK, how do you do it? If you want to reach out to the, you know, to the English-speaking people in the US, how do you do it? And that's the kind of questions that we help from the CEO Confident brand. We help people to answer is, how can we help you go global, knowing that you have to be not only respectful of the culture, but you also have to be able to speak
Exactly.
the language of the culture of the place where you want to go.
Oh, I love that, because even like big brand names like restaurants like McDonald's or Burger King, like they opened some branches in certain parts of the world and they didn't succeed, right? So yeah, this is even big brands like these. It's culture is a very important thing. Yes. So let me ask you, for you, Angel, what's your mission today?
Yes, thank you. That's a great question. So I consider myself really a divine, unstoppable force that brings connection to the unconnected by uplifting their energy and empowering their awareness. Okay, so that's really my mission. That's who I consider myself to be. And guess what? I think that the kind of people I am attracting to the world that I live in is the exact same kind of people, honestly. And when I am invited to be on a podcast, I think that actually we are very aligned with the podcast hosts when that happens, because we tend to forget who we really are. I think that we are all, you are, I am, you know, unstoppable divine forces, really, that we can help our clients to obtain so many things. And really what for me, getting a client is to be able to connect the unconnected. Really, that's what getting a client is.
Cool.
And what I do for my clients is really uplifting their energy. So I'm really able to make them, you know, uplift their energy and making them aware and empower their awareness, so they really know what their expertise, what their awesomeness is, so that they can go to the market and they can put their brand, you know, easily to the market, and they can start generating revenue out of their clients.
Cool. So let me ask you, what's a major takeaway for people? So whether they are entrepreneurs or whether they are CEOs, what's the major takeaway for people to take from this one?
From my working with entrepreneurs and CEOs for the last 20 plus years, this is the main business mantra I use all the time, which is take imperfect action now. Take imperfect action now. That's the main piece of advice I would like to give everybody. You are infinitely powerful. Every single day, if you go through life slow enough, I'm going to repeat this, okay?
Yeah.
If you go through life slow enough, you are going to receive, really continuously, you're going to receive things, you're going to receive messages, people are going to tell you things. If you go slow enough to actually pay enough attention to those are the messages that you need to learn to really start taking action. I already described to you the 4 ingredients of a successful reinvention, of a successful business, right? When you reinvent yourself. But the most important thing is that you take imperfect action. It might be fearful, it might be scary, but take action. It doesn't have to be perfect. Take action, go and meet with your potential clients, with your future clients, and start knowing what your market needs today.
I love that. Take imperfect action now, because you can start, let's say, with version 1.0, then you go to 2.0, then you go 3.0, and you keep developing the version, the products, whatever it is that you do. You don't have to keep waiting until it's perfect, because it will never be perfect, because you will always improve on it, right?
Totally.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Totally.
Yeah. Exactly. So tell us more about your charity. It's called Wisdom for Kids, right?
Exactly. So basically, we help underprivileged kids in Latin America become entrepreneurs using their local resources. We go to communities in Latin America, we talk to the community leaders, and we tell them, hey, we would like to start an entrepreneurial journey for your kids in your area, in your community, right? And we go to different kinds of community. We go to from urban communities, suburban, rural, or even indigenous communities, right? And basically we connect with those communities and we tell them, hey, we would like to do this. We would like to start teaching entrepreneurship to your kids. And that's exactly what we do. We set up a particular date. And the funny thing is that the first time when we explain what this is about to the community leaders, the first thing they ask us is, how much is that going to be? How much is it going to be?
How much it costs?
Money. How much money? Yes, exactly. Okay. And we tell them, yeah, it's going to be for free. and
cool.
Because we are a nonprofit, right? That's what we like to do. And we have helped already, so that and the audience knows, we have already helped more than 1,000 families in that entrepreneurial journey. So and then when we tell them, hey, we're going to do it because we want to really genuinely help the kids in your community, we would like to change your community, right? And then we go there and we start the journey with a workshop. It's like our starting initial workshop, and it's a workshop which is like really very high level of energy kind of workshop, and basically we connect with the kids, we dance, we sing, we exercise, we tell stories, tales, we play games.
Cool.
I think we sing songs. I already said that, and we also meditate. And the meditation is the most powerful moment of the entire workshop. Hussein, it's just magic. It's amazing.
So what are the age groups you are working on?
Yeah, we start at 7 and we go up to 15. Yes.
Oh, so you instill the entrepreneurial mindset in the minds of these kids, instead of just keep thinking like maybe they will get a college degree and finally go to work for someone, but maybe someday they will also have their own business or startup, right? Because they have this in their life.
Well, remember that those are underprivileged kids. So what you just told me, which is very normal for you or for me, it's not for them. That's not what they have in their minds.
Yeah.
What they have in their minds is that, right now I am helping my family as much as I can, because my family is an underprivileged family too. So most of the kids are actually working with their family, with their parents.
So possibly they are not even in school now.
So sometimes they are in a school, sometimes they are not. But what I can tell you for sure is that most of those kids, they are helping their parents with their businesses, or with something related to generating additional income, because they are underprivileged families. When we go, for instance, just to give you an example, when we go to rural communities,
what is the percentage of children that are underprivileged?
It depends on the kind of community. Let me tell you the percentages. In the cities, it's around 25%.
Okay.
In the suburban areas, is around, that's Latin America. Okay, Latin America. In the suburban communities is around 50%.
Okay.
In the rural communities is 75%.
Wow.
And in the indigenous communities is 95%.
Yeah, it's gonna be high there. Yes.
So as you see, it's huge communities of kids who are underprivileged.
Yeah. Well, great thing. So what's your vision for this one, for the Wisdom for Kids?
Yes. So, I mean, obviously we we had to stop because of everything that's going on in the world and the restrictions in traveling. We had to stop. But I mean, my vision is really to be able to. There's 81 million kids that live in poverty in Latin America. We would like to reach to most of them, and the secret to doing that is being able to scale and to reach out to those communities as fast as possible. So this is, and again, right now, knowing that the underprivileged kids by default, they don't have access to technology. And given the restrictions that we have right now to go to these places, I think that it's really difficult to have a specific goal to set. But that's the main mission for us, is to reach to as many kids as possible, so that they understand and they see that there's other ways to live in this world besides what they see right now in their lives.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they should have more opportunities given to them. They should see some, let's say, more hope in the future.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So, Angel, thank you very much for being with me here today.
Of course.
What's your website, so can people go check it out?
Yeah, so I mean, actually, the easiest way for anybody to go and check me out, let's say, is to go to LinkedIn, look for my name, Angel, that last name, Ribo. Ribo is spelled R-I-B as in boy, O. Angel is like an angel from heaven, A-N-G-E-L, right? So, and you can also send me an email. So angel@angelriboaltogether.com. If you go to LinkedIn, you will see it's Angel Ribo, the CEO Confidant. CEO Confidant.
Awesome. Well, Angel, thank you very much for being with me today on this episode of the Success Grid podcast.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you very much to you. And obviously, thank you. It's been a blessing to be with you. Thank you to everybody who has been listening to us today.